And welcome everyone to the Donovan Live Postgame Show here on WKYC's Facebook Live. Dave DeNatale alongside Jim Donovan. Jim, we're a little late to the party here on the show tonight for a very good reason. Thanks to Mission Barbecue. My goodness, they brought just a ton of food on the show. They were with you on the show tonight, and they brought a ton of food for all of us. Pulled chicken, pulled pork, ribs, kielbasa. It was fantastic.
Yeah. They're at the Shops in Parma, right by Byers Field.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they do a lot of work with veterans and first responders, police, fire department, EMS, things like that. But it's a big day on Saturday. Of course, it's Veterans Day. Yeah. And veterans can go in there and they can eat for free. But they do a lot of work beyond Veterans Day. But I'll tell you what, that was delicious. Now, I gave a tip to people about Mission Barbecue. Do you know Joe Thomas is a partner?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he is. He's involved in. He's a partner. And I forgot until I picked up the scent of Mission Barbecue when I walked into the studio. But I forgot that is the same scent and aroma that I get every Friday when I go in to do the Hugh Jackson radio show for the pregame show, whichever game we're playing, because Mission Barbecue, they come into the and feed the Browns on Friday.
Well, that makes sense. That
if
image
the Browns
you see right
played
now,
on Friday,
yes,
they would win after eating Mission Barbecue.
That picture you see, that was the plate of our director, Frank Masick. That's, again, why we were all running late. We all were filling up our plates just like that. Fantastic food.
It was great.
It was good.
At the Shops at Parma, and I, throw this out to you now. Tomorrow night there's a huge playoff game at Byers Field. St. Ed's takes on Menor tomorrow night. Now, it's going to be cold.
Yes, bundle up.
What better way to go to the ball game, either pre or post, than to go over to Mission Barbecue right there at Byers Field, because the Shops at Parma are right there.
Something fun, special about Friday night high school football. You get the hot cocoa during the game, and then you warm up with a great meal. A lot of times for me afterwards, that's how to spend a Friday night.
Yeah, and that should be a big crowd.
Yeah,
I mean,
it should
both
be.
those
Absolutely.
teams travel well, as we say in the business. So good luck to them both, and good luck to Mission Barbecue. They do great work, and they have great food.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
See, I think this thing is going to be sponsored. So
that's what I'm talking about.
Brought to you by Mission Barbecue at the Shops at Parma.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we could do that. See, we can do things like that for you. Contact our sales staff. Okay, you mentioned Joe Thomas, and tonight on Donovan Live, you had Jimmy's take. We'll post it in a little while. About kind of Joe Thomas's future. Now, obviously everybody knows he's out for the season because of the elbow, but he's a lot of times, and this, players who get injured, a lot of times we don't see much of them at media because they're either getting treatment, they're just not around. Joe Thomas is around, and he's helping his teammates out, and you kind of put it out there today that as we get to the offseason, and the Browns have already made a significant investment for Thomas next year, but as we think about the offseason, Joe really needs to take a real careful thought about what his future plans will be in the NFL, or if maybe it is time for him to retire.
I think it's a needed decision, and he does need time to make that decision. He'll make it with his family. He's got a beautiful wife and Annie Thomas, and they have great kids now. Consecutive snap string at 10,363. Imagine he had never missed a snap in his career during the regular season, and he did play through injuries. But before the season, he talked about CTE. And brain injuries, and sometimes his memory. Yeah. He mentioned that he's had some loss of memory, or he's been affected some days after games, or and he thinks about that, and he thinks about what's going on, and he wants to be healthy. He's got, as I said, he's got a young family. Yeah. He's a young guy, so he's got that from the health standpoint. Right. Okay. And do you want to go through this? Do you want to go through? He's got a tough rehab in front of him, 6 to 9 months. Now, the other thing is, though, and I think the most important thing, at least on the football side, is he has to take a look at the situation here, and he has to say, are the Browns on the cusp of becoming a really good team, a playoff contending team? Could they win the AFC North? Can they make it in as a wild card team? In other words, can I finally play on a playoff game in a Cleveland Browns uniform? And I think you have to look at that as part of your decision.
Yeah.
And as I said on the show, I would be lying to him if I said, hey, Joe, you got to come back.
Right.
Next year's the year.
This close.
Yeah, because we're not this close. I mean, come on. You know, we know that.
Right.
And I think that has to be part of the decision, too, as to whether or not he wants to come back. Now, his future, you know, coaching, and I know what he's doing now, and you're right. He's out there, and he's helping those young players out. And I'm not putting down the Browns coaching staff at all,
Not
but
at all.
I think the young linemen are going to learn probably more from Joe Thomas than they are from the coaches on the team, because that's just, you know, the players have a different way of telling it. And other players listen to veteran players, and certainly to a guy like Joe Thomas. But I don't know if he wants to be a coach, Dave. I really don't. Now, I will say this. Remember, Joe is a proud Wisconsin Badger. He is a legend back in Wisconsin.
Oh, sure.
And if you are a Badger, you are a legend anyway.
Right.
And I give you the name. On the Democratic National Convention floor, I give you the name to put into nomination Jim Leonard, who played his final game in the NFL here with the Browns.
Yeah.
Jim Leonard had a great career. Jim Leonard was a folk hero back in Wisconsin. I think he played in a small town, and I think the townspeople used to get a bus every week if the Badgers were playing
At Camp Randall,
in Madison, and they would go to the game and they would watch Jim Leonard. Well, he is the defensive coordinator now for the University of Wisconsin. I don't know if Joe wants to do that, and I don't know if he wants to do it at the pro level.
Right.
That's what Bernie Kosar grappled with all the time. Do you want to put a 16, 17-hour day in, watching tape and doing like that? I don't know if Joe wants to do that.
Yeah, and then we've actually mentioned the personnel side of things, the front office side of things. You know, would he want to do something like that? Well, it's the same thing. It's like, Ozzie Newsome worked his way up to becoming a general manager.
Yeah, I think Ozzie scouted before he really started.
He was an assistant for Bill Belichick. You'd see him on the sidelines, and then, like I said, he worked in the scouting department. And then when the Browns moved to Baltimore, he became general manager. Right. But again, that requires a lot of learning and hours, and you don't necessarily know if you want to do that with a young family.
Yeah, I really don't know. Joe, of course, has made a lot of money.
Yep.
And I know Joe. I think Joe owns a lot of land back in Wisconsin, and but he's got a healthy list in front of him of where he's going to take a legal pad and he's going to draw a line down the middle and say, this is the good part about coming back, or this is the bad part about coming back, and maybe I should retire. But on the other side, let me tell you this. With all of these picks that the Browns have, they need to pick a left tackle.
No
and
doubt.
It might have to be pretty early.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, say the Browns have the first pick in the draft, okay? Say they do. I'm not saying you pick a left tackle there, but they have another pick in the first round, and maybe you have to pick a left tackle there.
Yeah.
That's how important the position is. Remember, we haven't had to worry about this.
No. I mean, you always, every year, Joe Thomas, left tackle. You always had that. Now you've got to think about life in the future.
Right.
You just do. It's just why they should have let Mitchell Schwartz walk out the door. Okay, that's here nor there. Okay.
You'd make Doug Deacon very proud of what you just said.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the by, one other thing from that I took from Hugh Jackson and the Browns today. They're talking about Jabril Peppers, and you and I talked about him on this show. Ideally, he's the guy that you thought was going to play right on be the ideal strong safety, big hitter, play right on the line. Be like Polamalu. I mean, when I saw Jabril Peppers, I was thinking Troy Polamalu, somebody like that.
So was he.
Yeah. But Hugh Jackson essentially said today, by necessity, the Browns more or less, they were forced to put him at free safety,
which he had never played.
Which he had never played before. That just boggles my mind that they were in that position, that they had to do that to a rookie and play him out of position. It's something he was totally unfamiliar with.
Yeah, I think he's been mismanaged. Yeah. I really do. That's not Jabril Peppers, what you saw in the first 6 games of the regular season. Because remember, he missed the last 2 with a toe injury. And he's been a little limited the last couple of days in practice. I think he is going to play on Sunday. But I think he's been mismanaged. Yeah. I really do. Because he's playing too deep. He's too far away from things. And I think the natural frustration set in. And now the danger is, Dino, that he's trying to make plays that just aren't there. You know, they're not there. He hears people saying, hey, I thought you were going to be up on the line of scrimmage. I thought you were going to come up with 6 or 7 interceptions. Right. Never mind what you were going to do in the punt return game. Or never mind what you were going to do if we put you at running back. Right. You know, I think they've mismanaged him, and I think they realize that. Now, there's a self-critique phase of the bye week where you go back and you say, all right, what did we really do here? And I would hope up at the top of that they would say we really botched this Jabril Peppers thing.
Yeah. He needs to be. He has playmaking potential. Put him in a position to succeed. That's the coach's job.
Free Jabril Peppers.
Yeah, free Jabril Peppers. All right, before we go, you guys mentioned it tonight on 3 on 3. It was a pop culture thing, and I saw the story last night, and I was like, wow, they can really do this. If you didn't hear, there's an upcoming movie next month with Mark Wahlberg and Michelle Williams, directed by Ridley Scott, All the Money in the World. It was to have also featured Kevin Spacey in the role of the billionaire tycoon J. Paul Getty. The movie's coming out December 22nd. From now until then, Ridley Scott is going to reshoot all of the scenes that Spacey was in with the venerable veteran Oscar-winning actor Christopher Plummer taking the place of Kevin Spacey. And Wahlberg is going to be part of the reshoots, and Michelle Williams part of the reshoots. I mean, they're going to do this in 6 weeks. Yeah.
I have never seen anybody fall like a rock like Kevin Spacey has. I mean, I'm trying to think of maybe, you know what? I don't know if anybody ever saw the documentary about Lance Armstrong when it finally came out after the Oprah interview. Did you use steroids? Yes. And when he answered like all these questions, yes. Did you use this? Yes. Did you use testosterone? Yes, I did. And then everything fell apart, right? All of his endorsements went out the window. In one day, he lost like $75 million in endorsements. But I think this is even high. I have never seen anything happen like this, you know, where Netflix totally cancels a show. You know, they blur out his facial, you know, the acknowledgement of his identity on any kind of, you know, title card for House of Cards. It's amazing. But now getting back to what you're saying, I mean, you know, that is unbelievable.
That's unbelievable.
That they're going to do that. How about the other people in the movie that think, well, we've got this thing done.
Yeah, we're
done.
The can. Yeah, we're on. You know, we're on to the next one. I mean, maybe you get a break between films. Sometimes you don't. But man, we're on to the next one. It's by the way, you got to come back here and do this all over again. And by the way, I love Christopher Plummer. I think he's a fantastic actor. But you know, Jimmy, we're seeing this, and you know, Louis C.K. We're hearing about him today. You know, women are coming forward at a tremendous pace, and the fear of saying, hey, look, this happened to me is over. I mean, it's in politics, in movies and television. It's pretty staggering.
You know, really, it seemed to start at the Fox News channel.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, you know.
Roger Ailes and Bill O'Reilly, and then it was Harvey Weinstein, and now it's been a floodgate. Yeah, it really is. I think it's at an epidemic proportion. Yeah. I think it's going to continue to come out and happen, and I think you know, it's you know, there's no tolerance for it anymore, and there's no shame. Right. Obviously, that's a very important point. There's no shame in revealing that it happened to you, and that you weren't comfortable about revealing it right away. Yeah. You know? And I mean, I think most of these people felt that they were, A, not going to be believed, and B, they would be blackballed in what they were going to do in the entertainment business or in the news broadcasting business, that they would not be able to move up because these people of power had done this to them and could really keep it under wraps. And it's the actresses that have come forward, and you're sitting there going, oh, yeah, I remember her. And it's terrible because, you know, lives and careers were tossed aside because of the way it used to be, the way the structure used to be. And times are changing. And it was funny, Chris Ty put out a web poll the other day, a Twitter poll that I thought was really interesting. What are we going to remember 2017 most for? And he's, one was very sad, the mass shootings like the one we just had in Texas and obviously Las Vegas, etc. The continued investigation surrounding President Trump, his campaign, or this wave of people standing up and coming forward about sexual harassment, sexual misconduct in their respective workplaces. That last one, I think, is really going to be a huge theme of this year.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's astounding. You wake up now. You wake up tomorrow, and you wonder what new name or names will be added to the long list, and the list that just keeps on getting lengthier of people that have committed this. You know what? Total intolerance of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, you've got to hit the books and get ready for the Browns and the Lions.
Yes.
Sunday, you'll be heading out with the team on Saturday. Quick thought
the old-fashioned way.
The old-fashioned bus
trip.
Quick thought about the game as you look into
it. The Lions are a very interesting team because they're 2 games off the pace now in their division. Minnesota's like 5-2. The Lions are 4-4. Minnesota's 6-2, and the Lions are 4-4. So they're 2 games off the pace. But they have a quarterback, okay? Everybody else in that division is scrambling. The Vikings are still playing with Case Keenum. Maybe Teddy Bridgewater is going to come back. He's been activated as far as being on the 53-man roster. But remember, he hasn't played in a year and a half now. But Sam Bradford's out. Green Bay, we may beat the Packers.
Yes.
That might be the one. Yep. We may beat the Packers here. Because, Brett Hundley, doesn't scare anybody. And so with no Aaron Rodgers, the Packers are really just a very, very ordinary football team. And, of course, the Bears have committed to Mitch Trubisky and a young quarterback. On this game, though, so the Lions have Matthew Stafford, and I like him.
Yes, I do too.
I really do. I like the way he plays. I don't know why they're not better. But I can tell you statistically, there are 2 things. Number one, they don't win at home. They're 1-3 at home. Number 2, watch them when they get inside the 10-yard line. They do not score touchdowns.
Wow.
Now, a couple of weeks ago when they played in the Sunday night game against Pittsburgh, they got in there all night long and kicked 5 field goals. Wow. They cannot score touchdowns in goal-to-goal situations. Now, we've had that problem too, but the Lions shouldn't have that problem with a quarterback like Stafford and some of the receivers they have in Golden Tate and Marvin Jones, T.J. Jones, and a big tight end in Eric Ebron. The Lions heavily favored going into the game. The Browns, I'll be interested to watch Kaiser play because, again, now we have a new chapter of what's on Deshaun Kaiser's mind.
Yep.
Is A.J. McCarron and the possibility that McCarron was going to be traded here, is that on his mind? I think that Deshaun just needs to focus on his game.
You can't be worried about who's behind you. That's irrelevant at this point.
The good thing is, we're going to have all of those guys defensively who were injured, and I think Peppers is going to play, but Garrett's going to play.
Yep.
This kid Ogunjobi's going to play, who I think is pretty good, and most importantly, McCourty will be out on that corner, and they've really missed him.
That will certainly help. Well, safe travels to Detroit. You and Deke have a great call, and
he's back.
I can't wait to hear you guys back
together.
What?
Yeah, that would be great. I really missed him a great deal.
Yes. Yeah. We'll look forward to hearing you on Sunday, and we'll see you back here next week.
Okay, see you Monday.
See you Monday. For Jimmy Donovan, I'm Dave DeNatale. Thank you so much for watching the Donovan Live Postgame Show right here on WKYC's Facebook Live.